Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Benjineer's cooking channel again, and this week I will show you everyone how to make Hainanese chicken rice. Let's get the chicken started, eh? So what are the ingredients in Hainanese chicken rice? Of course we need a whole chicken. This whole chicken is around 1.8 kilos. I would not recommend anything less than 1.5 kilos or more than 2 kilos. Going from the top, of course we need rice. This is 3 cups of rice. Wouldn't recommend it too much as well because of the limited chicken fat that you can extract out of one whole chicken. We have 6 to 8 stalks of spring onion. This is mainly for the sauce. Half a tablespoon of sesame oil. We also have 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 10 to 12 cloves of garlic, 3 large knobs of ginger. We need 2 bulbs of shallot and half a cucumber, and last but not least we need 6 to 8 bird's eye chili, because everything just tastes better with chili. First thing you need to do is to cut off this fat. This is very important because we will need this a bit later. We need to render this fat. Start washing the chicken, and the cavity is extremely dirty. So I'll fill up the bowl of water first. And you have to give the cavity a rinse. You will notice that a lot of the blood will come out. Inside as well, what you will need to do is, I'm not sure if you can actually see inside, it's quite dark, but there's a lot of these giblets and intestines that's not thoroughly cleaned out, and you need to take them out. Because just put your hand in and drag out most of the crap. All we need to do is just dry the chicken. The next thing that we need to do is actually to wash the rice. Just run it under cold water. Just let that dry off. Just to increase the drying off, just increase the surface area. We'll get our salt. We don't use all of it, just use half. Just give the chicken a good kind of rub. Most importantly is to get the salt inside the cavity. Give it a bit of seasoning. Preference is to, if you have one of these hooks, you'll see them at the Chinese restaurants when they make roast ducks and roast pork, is to, what you do is just hook it under the armpits of the chicken. There's a bone there, so you can actually just dig in. And there you have it. And if you don't like that kind of eccentricity on the chicken, then recommend that you get another hook. Dig it under the armpits. And there you have it. The hooks will take equal tension now. And you can hang it somewhere. So we have some spring onions, and what we'll do is we will actually chop these up into, we'll basically slice them. And how do we get them fine? Just do that. The spring onion is for making the spring onion and ginger sauce. This is how it should look like. Forgot to mention, while the chicken is being marinated or doing other stuff, you should boil a pot of water, pour around 5 liters, and just bring it up to the boil. The next thing we need to do is prepare the ginger. So I recommend using one of these. It's a pool slicer, which one of my colleagues recommended me to use. Now the next order of things is the garlic. Same thing. Chicken rice is actually quite an easy dish to make. There's actually not too much ingredients. They're all pretty standard, Asian stuff: garlic, ginger, shallots, chillies. The technique's actually more important. So I'll go through that as we're cooking the chicken. How to get the chicken tender, not overcooked, not even undercooked, juicy. Next thing is the shallots. Look at that. We're actually going to make a chicken rice chili sauce with this. So I'll bring this out. These are bird eyes chili. If you don't want it too hot, you can get different types of chilies, or up to you. But just remember always to have chili. What I'll do here is actually put in maybe 2 teaspoons of garlic in here as well. Maybe 3. Just to give it a bit more volume when we're blending it. Start making the spring onion ginger dipping sauce. So here we got the bowl of spring onion. What we need to do is put in probably around 2 heaped tablespoons of ginger, like that. Probably a little bit more since we've got quite a bit of ginger. Save at least half the bowl because we need this for the rice. Spread it across a bit. And with the salt, sprinkle maybe around a teaspoon of salt on top. A bit more is actually better because this sauce tastes better when it's salty. What we'll do is we'll get around a 1/4 cup of oil and we'll heat that up. Once the oil has been heated to really hot, probably around 200 degrees, we will then pour this on top. And then now we can give this a stir. And you'll smell all the aroma from the spring onion and the ginger being released. It's important to turn the heat on to low because when we put the chicken in, the water will not boil anymore, and we want to maintain an 80 to 90 degree temperature. So we need to season the water a bit, so we'll put in around 2 tablespoons of salt. Wouldn't recommend putting any more at this time. Now here's the very important technique. When we put the chicken in, as you can see here, we'll dunk the chicken into the water. Just make sure that it won't overfill. It should go into the cavity. Do that again. I'll probably put a little bit too much water in. That's okay. So it's important to dunk the chicken in and then take it out again. We need to do this process 3 to 4 times. What we're trying to do is circulate the hot water inside the cold cavity. Set a timer for 15 to 20 minutes and then we'll repeat the process. So after around 20 minutes, you come back and then you do the same thing. You dip the chicken in and out 3 or 4 times just to recirculate that water inside its cavity. Alright, the 60 to 70 minutes is up, and a good way to tell if the chicken is cooked is when you lift this up. You can see there's a little tendon here in the drumstick. If that's torn apart, that's a very good indicator that the chicken's cooked. A cold bucket of water, and we actually dip this chicken straight into that cold water to stop the cooking process. This is very, very important because otherwise the chicken will keep cooking. Dip it in and out just to get the cold water circulating into the cavity, and then we'll set that aside. I would recommend to change the water maybe once or twice because the water will get warm. We'll move on to the next step, which is cooking the rice or preparing the rice. And do you remember the chicken fat that we've cut out of the chicken earlier? What we do is, when the wok's not too hot, we're going to render all this fat out of the chicken. We'll do it slowly. Put it on medium heat. That's the sound you want to hear. Soon you'll see a big puddle of fat. Now the next step, while leaving the heat on medium, is we'll put in the shallots and the ginger and the garlic. So let me do this first. So first of all, we'll put in the ginger. Then we'll put in the shallots. These sort of flavours when you stir fry it. And also put in the garlic. Or the remaining garlic. Remember, not the one that's with the chilli and the garlic, because that's for the chilli sauce later. And give this a stir fry on medium heat still, because you don't want to burn the herbs. Leave the chicken fat in there, it's alright. When that nice aroma comes out, you can add in the rice that you washed. And with this, we can put this in now. And keep stirring it. Then let it stick to the wok. So we can turn the heat up a little bit more now, not too much. And the idea is to keep stirring it and mix in the ginger, the shallot, the garlic, chicken fat, and fry the rice. So probably put in half a teaspoon of salt. Turn the heat back up. And stir it in. If you want, you can use a non-stick pan, or if you have a seasoned wok, it shouldn't stick anyway. You can practice the wok tossing. Careful not to get rice everywhere. Alright, I think it's nearly there. Turn the heat off. And now what we need to do is transfer this to the rice cooker. Keep the chicken fat in there, no harm. Now we add the chicken stock with the rice, and then we'll cook it in the rice cooker. Now that the chicken's been in the water for around 20-30 minutes, it should be cooled down, and we're going to take it out of the water and going to hang it for drying. Now with the chili sauce, I've added a bit of salt and sugar to it, and then we're going to put hot oil on top of the sauce just to release the fragrance of the chili and the garlic, and then we'll stir it all together. Next, we'll squeeze in a bit of lime juice to get the tangy flavour. Transfer the chili into a jar, then add around half a cup of the chicken stock, and then your chili sauce is ready. Now the chicken's nearly done. With the sesame oil, we'll get a brush, and we'll just brush the skin lightly with sesame oil. That gives it a bit more fragrance, and also just prevents the skin from drying out. And then let this hang for maybe another 5 or so minutes. You can now add the cucumber to the plate. Slightly away from the center line because there's a bone there, so you want to miss that. And then just make sure you use the right knife. This one's generally pretty good. Right, so what we'll do, we'll deal with it, deal it half at a time, and see all the chicken juices coming out. After we're done with that, we'll take out the thigh, and that should just come off quite nicely. Now with this breastbone and the chicken wing, you take this in half again. And left with the thigh piece, where you need to take out this bone. Should just come off very easily. Like that. Try not to rip them because you want the skin. Just make sure there's no small bones and chips. You can see that the chicken's still very juicy. And of course there's the tenderloin. Put that aside here. So we've got a full breast piece here, which we'll deal with later. This one, you just take it down like that. And there's a nice piece of meat here, so just be careful with your hands. You should be able to extract that quite nicely. What I'll do is I'll just place all the meat here. Now this is really up to you how much you want to debone. I normally don't eat this piece at the end. Go away. Now I do the chicken thigh. What I do is there's a bone here that you can just take out. So you need a fairly sharp knife to do this. Put the bone here and then just twist that, and it should just come off. If the chicken is not fully cooked, the meat will get stuck onto the bone still. It'll be very difficult to debone. So let's make an opening to try to take out that bone. There's a joint here. They can just go bam, cut through the joint. Once again, just careful with your hands. I mean, you don't have to do this. This is just my own personal preference. Going out. a small bone piece here. And then same with the drumstick. You should be able to just take that out. And you're left with a nice breast piece, a thigh piece with the drumstick. And we'll deal with the other half. Same thing. And then what I'll do is I'll cut this one up. The secret of cutting chicken is don't try to cut it slowly unless you have a really nice, really sharp knife. It has to be cut fast because otherwise the skin is very slippery and you won't be able to cut through the meat. So what you do is just, you have a cleaver, you just chop it through. Like that. Same for the thigh pieces. So like that. With the breast piece, it's very similar. Tenderloin. When you cut it, because the skin wants to rip off, so you have to cut it either very slowly with a very sharp knife like that. Turn this with if you're in Chinese restaurants, they just go like that. Or if you don't have that precision knife skill, just mark the point that you want and just bang it down. And then you get a very nice shape with the skin still on. It's 3/4 of the chicken. Now the rice is done, taken out of the rice cooker. So basically now what we have from one chicken, just a few knobs of ginger, garlic and chili and spring onion. We made a whole chicken, the rice, the spring onion ginger sauce, the chili garlic sauce, and of course we got the chicken soup, which is quite healthy because we didn't add any MSG or anything. But honestly it does taste better if you add a little bit more MSG in. I hope you all enjoyed this week's video on how to make Hainanese chicken rice. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and also please give me a like if you enjoyed this dish. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!